Hi, everyone. So can water make your bourbon better? Specifically, can Kentucky limestone water make your bourbon better? Well, we're going to find out. So if you watched my last video, I ordered this great twin pack of mixing water from Amazon, specifically Old Limestone Mixing Water, the mixing water of Kentucky bourbon. I ordered 2 of these 1-liter bottles. You notice I already have the tops ready in this one to put the drops in. It's just easier than, you don't need a light dropper. You have this. 2 of these 1-liter bottles, $12 on Amazon. One would have been $9. Definitely made sense to order 2. And just to recap, Kentucky limestone water is a special water, and there's a reason why 95% of the bourbon in the United States comes from Kentucky, and a major reason is this limestone water, which is found in Kentucky. Is very unique to it. And basically, just to recap, the key part of the Kentucky limestone water is it does not contain iron, and what iron does is it makes the whiskey bitter and black. This does not have iron, so it does not have that factor. It makes the whiskey smoother, richer. It makes the water smoother and richer, which ultimately makes the whiskey smoother and richer. It also adds nutrients like magnesium and calcium, higher pH, which ultimately adds to the smoothness. So they always say when you add water, you want to open up a whiskey, add a couple of drops of water, and that's just any water. The thought process here is that adding a couple of drops of this water, specifically the type of water that is used by the Kentucky distilleries themselves, is going to open it up even more. It's supposed to just bring out, enhance all the flavors that are in here. And that's what we're going to see if I really find that that's the case. For the purpose of this experiment, and this is going to be the first of 3, we're going to do 2 other videos after this. I am going to use Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof. It's 116.8 proof. I think a high proof whiskey is appropriate here. You don't want to use a low proof whiskey to put water in and dilute it even further. And I think with all the flavors and potential, some of the hotness and that's in a barrel proof, I think that's appropriate for this type of experiment. I've had higher proof whiskeys on hand, but right now I'm just going to go with this one. This is 116.8 proof. That's plenty high. So what we're going to do is the instructions, and there actually are instructions in here. And it just says, it said to start with 1 inch. Didn't say ounce. It said 1 inch of bourbon, and I'm going to use a thumb as an inch. So we'll start with that, take a sip. Then it said to add another inch and add the water. So we're going to go with that. Just going to take a sip of this. I'll do a nose because we're probably going to nose this and we're going to sip this. It's Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Wonderful. That's excellent. So now I'm going to get the whiskey prepared for the water. Now we added in a little bit of whiskey on top. Again, I'm following the directions, set another in. So basically this is around, I guess, about a 2-ounce pour that I would normally put in here. And now comes the fun part. Let's add a couple of drops of water. Kentucky limestone water from Old Limestone. Okay, so I'm going to do this very carefully because I think it's going to pour out more than 2 drops. Ah, that's more than enough. Okay, quick 2 drops. That's a fast dropper. Okay, so the water's poured up. It does say to swirl the whiskey, so I'm coating the sides of the glass. It literally said a couple of drops. That kind of poured out fast. It might have did even more, but it does say to swirl it. I'm just actually literally, I don't think we'll get a little looser with this, but I'm actually going to follow the directions. And it says swirl the bourbon gently for a few seconds, coating the side of the glass. All right, so then it says hold the glass 3 or 4 inches from your nose. That's about it. And it says not to hold it too closely. Don't stick your nose in the glass. And basically, then it's like take a short, gentle sniff. And then take, especially kind of sniff and then inhale. So let's take a sip. And I don't want this to be I'm afraid this is going to be like a placebo effect, where you think something's gonna feel or taste a certain way and then it does. But there is something, we're going to really define this. There's definitely something that has changed ever so slightly. So I am going to do one thing, though, just to make sure that this is real. It just says, basically what it says is, I'm just going to kind of read this from here. It does say, sip and sniff immediately after pouring, and then repeat over time. Bourbon evolves with exposure to air and some of the most delightful, full, fruity aromas. can dissipate in only a few seconds. Over time, the fresh, crisp aroma right out of the bottle will give way to spice and grain and then settle in wood and candy. You'll get the most out of a great complicated bourbon by smelling and sipping it over the course of 15 minutes or more. So basically, kind of, we're going to basically see how this sits. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this I'm going to do this for a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I spent a few minutes on this, and just for reference, so you know what I'm doing, I did have another pour set up here with just a plain Wild Turkey rare breed. I think it's important that I don't need the instructions to tell me this. I just think it is important to have this handy so I can just taste a regularly neat pour just on its own and compare it. Okay, I have some mixed thoughts on this. So I've been smelling this. Let's do the nose first. I do think on the nose, I do think that this opens up the nose a little bit. That I am telling. And again, I'm hoping there's no placebo effect. So this is with the water, the Kentucky limestone water. This is without. The nose, in my opinion, is more defined, is a little bit more defined on this one than this one with the water. Now, as far as the taste, I'm going to try this again. I'm not sure what I want to be sure of, and that's why we're going to have the future videos to tell us. I'm not sure. First of all, obviously, with a couple of drops of water, the proof's going to change ever so slightly, in terms of lowering it. That'll also cut it a little bit. So in terms of cutting are you going to cut the proof? You may cut, I don't want to say harshness, but you're going to cut some of that and kind of make it, it will inevitably make it smoother. What we're going to see, though, in the next video, I'm going to put basically 2 glasses, one with a couple of drops of regular water, whatever water that is, whether it be from my fridge, water filter, or just actually to make it really, really even. I probably will just use just a regular bottled spring water. Here, just regular bottled spring water versus the Kentucky limestone water. I think that's the fairest way to do it. And then see, okay, now we have both with a couple of drops of water. How do they taste? That's really the fair way to do it. As far as this, the nose is ever so slightly different. And again, I'm really hoping it's not just my head playing games. As far as the taste, let's do this one more time. This is with the old limestone, Kentucky limestone water. Okay, and this is without it. All right. I'm just not sure on this one. I think that's why I need to do the other one. So I will say for a fact something has definitely changed, no doubt. However, that could change for various reasons. It can change just by putting water in there, by slightly lowering the proof and just opening it up. But then again, I mean, that could happen just with regular spring water. I think I want to see the next video will be a little bit more determining as far as this, because we're going to put both with a couple of drops of water, one with the spring water, and then one with the old Kentucky limestone water. I think that's going to be the best one. And then the last one's just going to be more of kind of a fun, because I'm going to make ice cubes with this, an ice cube with this. We're going to pour a bourbon over ice with one ice cube from this and one ice cube just regular water. So we'll call this a hung jury on this one. I'm not sure. I do say something's changed. What I need to see, though, and that'll be really the next one, is how much has it changed and how much for the better, and is it something that I can just do with regular water, or is this something that is even changing it for the better? That'll be the next one. I think that one's going to be very helpful. But I look at this as a $12 investment and just having a little bit of fun with it. So we'll see you on the next video, and I think we'll be able to take a better look at it. Cheers. Thanks for watching.